on right before Mother's Day. I'm excited to talk to her. You know, we all deal with different realities and we all go through so much as parents that sometimes gets overlooked. And sometimes people don't want to hear the honest truth of how somebody else is living. And the fact that she's, fearlessly able to discuss that with me tonight is, it's really beautiful. And I'm honored that she even agreed to it because I know how difficult it can be sometimes. I'm gonna wait for her. I hope everyone's having a good night. See a bunch of friends in here, so hopefully she gets here soon. Hi, yes sir. Hi, Nat. How's everyone been? How are you guys doing? Everyone holding up okay in isolation? I know today was one of those weird days where it was snowing and the weather was just off. I can't predict anymore what it's going to be like, but if it's not COVID or killer bees keeping us in, it's going to be the snow that we keep getting. So hopefully that stops soon. Don't see Mirelle in here yet. Hopefully she gets here soon. Just waiting on her. Give her another minute and then I'm going to start giving her a call. Yes, sir, you're surviving isolation. You got a cute little pooch to keep you company. Oh, there's Mirelle. All right, I'm going to welcome her in, guys. Works. Instagram can be finicky.
Hey,
Hi.
Justice. There you go.
Oh, you're so pretty. How you doing?
Oh, thank you. I tried.
Isn't it fun? Gives you a reason to get dressed up, fix your hair.
Yeah, it's been honestly like over a month since I put on makeup. This is like the first time in a long time, so it feels good.
Well, thank you. You're beautiful without it, but you
Oh,
look
thank you.
extra pretty.
Thank you. Well, thank you
How's
for having me.
Anytime. How's it going over there? How you guys holding up?
Uh, it's going. I'm not gonna lie, I'm exhausted. By the end of the night, I'm pooped. Like I have zero energy. Like it takes a lot just to even stay up past 10. So
But is that a typical day for you, or is that just COVID life right now?
um more so during COVID because it's the first time that I've had both girls full time.
Okay.
So even though Grace is one, I always left Julia in daycare. So ever since this whole thing happened, she's obviously been at home with me. So I've been juggling both girls and it's been hard. Like it was such a big adjustment and I couldn't believe how difficult it was. Like I'm tired. I'm exhausted. Like I have zero energy left by the end of the night.
I feel you. Honestly, I'm stay at home. I work from home, but even then, now that we're all always home, I'm like, man, I can't keep up.
No,
It's a
it's not stop. And like my kids are still young. Like Julia's just turned 4 and Grace is 1. And it's just go, 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 go. Like feeding her, entertaining her, chasing around her. Like it's like I actually don't sit down at all. Like I have to wait till Andrew gets home. I literally like throw my kids at him and I just like run upstairs for half an hour. I either wash my face, like lay on the bed. Like that's like my only like time to myself. So it's a struggle.
it's a lot for sure.
Yeah.
I know. So Julia was in daycare before,
Yeah.
and you were just home with the baby the whole time.
Yeah, I left her in daycare because I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. And like I'm like, she's happy in daycare, she loves going to daycare, she sees her friends. I'm like, let's just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately with Grace, we had like issues earlier on. So I couldn't juggle both girls at the same time. So I left her in daycare.
What kind of issues, Mira, if you don't mind me asking?
She has like some medical issues. At first we didn't really know what was going on. I think it was around when she was 4 weeks old. I just sensed like something was really wrong with her. Like I'm not a first time, like it's my second child. So like you kind of know what to expect or you have an idea of what things should be like at least. But yeah, around 4 to 6 weeks, I'm like, my child is like in pain. Like she's not okay. Um, she wouldn't feed, she wouldn't sleep, she'd be crying nonstop. Every time I tried to feed her, she would like vomit, like projectile vomit every single feed she had. At some points, like her lips were blue because she was just like vomit, vomit, vomit. She couldn't even breathe at one point. And then I would just like keep going to her pediatrician, and she's like, "Oh, well, there's something wrong with your milk. Just give her formula." So I'm like, "Well, why would there be something wrong with my milk?" She's like, "Oh, maybe she has like some kind of intolerance, but she's so young. We can't do any allergy tests, so just cut off your milk and just give her formula." So, anyways, I went along with it. I went home and I tried to like bottle feed her, and it just wouldn't work. Like she wouldn't accept any feeds. And once I tried giving her like bottle formula, she stopped feeding, period. Like she wouldn't even eat at all. And I think she went like 24 hours without like eating, and I was like panicking. I was like calling Telehealth Ontario. I went back to her pediatrician. She's like, just force feed her, like keep trying. And like she wouldn't really not give me the time of day, but she just felt like, oh, she's hungry, she'll eat. So I think it was like after like 2 days, I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. Like I was like bawling my eyes out. I was a stress ball. I was super scared. Like my parents would come over and my friends would come over and we'd all like try to feed her, and she wouldn't feed. So by the time I went to Chio, she was so dehydrated that her like organs started failing, and they just like rushed her like right away to the NICU, and they like put the IVs in her and all that stuff in testing. So it wasn't really a good time, and that she was 6 weeks at that time, so she was still like a little potato. Oh, and by the way, like she wouldn't gain weight too. Like she was born at like 6 pounds, and she was barely even like 7 pounds at that time. Like she was so like small and fragile. So, anyways, we were at Chio and we were trying to get her to eat, and nobody could get her to feed. And she was just like literally like dwindling. Like as the time went by, and they were like, "We're gonna put a feeding tube in her and then we'll figure out like what's wrong with her." So at that time, they put an NG, which is a nasal gastric tube. So it's basically a feeding tube that they insert through the nostril. It goes down the throat and directly into the stomach, and either with like a pump or a syringe or whatnot, like you feed her formula. So that was our first admission, and we were there about a little bit over a month, like we were at Chio. Uh, so we just like did like a bunch of testing and everything. So the first thing they told me was she has severe reflux, like they called it GERD. That's why she like would vomit everything, and she couldn't get anything down. And then they made me cut off dairy and soy because I was breastfeeding her, because like her poos were like filled with blood, and yeah, she would vomit blood too. So like, okay, like that's the first step. Um, Usually like I feel like they guess, it's a guessing game, because like they're so young and you can't really know what's going on. Um, so we were there for like a month. We went with that, even though like a part of me was like, okay, sure. We put her on two medications. It was ranitidine and Prevacid, so it's supposed to control her acid reflux. So she was on for like 2 weeks, still wouldn't work. She would still vomit, cry, um, and she wouldn't eat. She was so content on the feeding tube that I feel like she didn't know how to self-regulate anymore, and she was just okay. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I was such like in a like I was so sleep deprived. Honestly, when I try to look back at that time, I kind of don't even remember. It's just like it was just a bad time. I'm sleeping on this little couch. The nurse is like waking me up every 2 hours. It was just like a like a bad time. But yeah, so after 3 weeks on the feeding tube, we decided to do like a wean to get her off of it and try and see if she'll start eating again. Um, it didn't work out. Like she wouldn't eat. She got dehydrated again. Started losing too much weight, all that stuff. So we put it back again, and then 2 weeks later, they wanted to do it again because like they didn't want to send me. Well, not them, it was myself. I was still like hard headed. Like no, she's gonna eat. It's gonna get better. She's gonna take the meds. She's gonna feel good. It's all gonna be a thing of the past. So I was really pushy, and I was so unaccepting of the feeding tube that I was just like, no way is my daughter gonna be on a feeding tube. I was like, no, like I had such a hard time accepting it. I'm like, who doesn't know how to eat? Like a baby's born and they open their mouth, like, and they just go to the boob or they suckle on something. Like, so second attempt, it sort of worked. She started breastfeeding again slowly, but by the time I went home, it was just a nightmare. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, my daughter never willingly ate. Like, every time, like for the 5 months we were home, it was like me force feeding my daughter. And it was such a bad time for the both of us. Like, and it just like spiraled my depression, my anxiety. I hated life. I hated, even like, as bad as it sounds, like I hated being her mom. I'm like, every morning I wake up, I'm like, is my daughter gonna eat? Is she gonna sleep? Am I gonna like, how am I gonna survive the day? I was so mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, and I still didn't even understand. Like when we got discharged, I didn't even have like a concrete answer. I was like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do here at home? My daughter is still not eating, and we had to go to CHO like 3 times a week still, regardless. And she wouldn't gain weight, and she'd even be losing weight. And that they would threaten me. They'd be like, listen, like, you know, we have to put the feeding tube back in. And I was so against it, like I said, and I didn't even know why, to be honest. Now that I look back, I'm like, I just put my daughter and myself through so much stress and anxiety for what? Like, because I was scared of like what people were gonna say. Like, honestly, like Mireille stars on a, like, I had a hard time accepting it. So anyways, like for like 5 to 6 months we were at home, it was hell. Like, it was just me literally opening her mouth, syringing milk with like a formula in a syringe, or me force feeding her food. We were doing therapies. We did so many testing. We did like upper GIs, swallowing study, emptying studies, so much blood work. We even did like numerous consults with like genetics team, all of that, to try to figure out an answer. But we eventually did. She does have a birth defect. So her LES, so her lower esophageal sphincter is like defective, doesn't work. So every time she eats or she swallows, it all comes back up and it like burns her. So she has like 24/7 heartburn. And like since she was born. So from like a young age, she like associated food with pain, and she like developed a really bad feeding aversion and oral aversion. Like, she hates food. Like, even like sometimes when I try to offer her food, she freaks out. Like, and I made it worse, to be honest. Like, I know it sounds crazy, or I feel guilty saying it, but like me force feeding her all the time made it so much worse, to the point where like my daughter didn't trust me. Like, every time I hold her or I try to feed her, she'd start screaming. And it was just like a bad time. Like, it was just hard. Like, so right now, like, she's back on the feeding tube because she's like malnutritioned. So despite all my efforts and those like 6 months of her at home with me, and me thinking I was doing a good job and thinking she was thriving and she was doing okay, like, was not working. So I finally like said, just put the tube back in. Like, I couldn't do it, and my daughter couldn't do it either. And right now she's back on the G, but we're gonna take the next steps and put a G tube in her. So instead of like it being in her face, it's like directly into her stomach. Which before like scared the living shit out of me. I'm like, I couldn't even imagine like having my daughter have a hole and me feeding her like that way. It's hard to accept. Like, this is like beyond picky eating. This is beyond like my daughter having a tantrum and only liking like 5 foods. My daughter hates food. Like, and even when I breastfed her, I had to like breastfeed her asleep. Like, she had to be actually like off, and I have to like trick her like into like a dream feed. So I can't like even explain to you how stressful it was, and how much like of a failure you feel. Like, you can't even feed your own daughter. Like, my daughter was literally starving to death, and like she was thrive since like she was 6 weeks old. And just like that label alone, like failure to thrive, like it just like emphasized like, okay, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. My daughter's failing. I'm failing my daughter. And then even like the term like infantile anorexia. Like when the doctors told me that, I was like, what the fuck is infantile anorexia? I'm like, I'm like, how is she anorexic? This is something that like you think you deal with like when they're like in their teens, not like a baby who's anorexic. But some babies actually will not eat. Even though they're like hungry, they will actually starve themselves to death. Like, and that's just my daughter. Like that's just something that I have to deal with. Like I never thought I'd have to deal with this, and people don't get it either. Like people don't understand. They're like, oh well, my daughter has acid reflux. I'm like, yeah, but my daughter has like severe, like next level, like to the point where like she's inflamed, like her body is on fire. Like I would watch her like in pain, like her eyes would water, and she would like retch and like wiggle out of my arms, or like she was terrified of food. Like that's not normal. Like babies should not be terrified of a bottle or the breast or food. So yeah. So
That
right now we're just trying to plump her up. She's doing really good right now, to be honest. She's on the NG and she's actually like gaining weight now. She's finally gaining good weight effortlessly. She still vomits. Like we had like 3 vomits a few days ago, like which were like her feeds. But I just like gotta push through with it. But the next steps will be like surgery. So we're gonna have to like fix her valve because it's like defective, and I want her to eventually learn how to eat again. So I'm literally like starting from scratch. We're going back to therapy, like teach her you can trust food, you can trust my daughter doesn't even trust me too. Like she doesn't we don't have that trust. And we didn't even bond, to be honest. The first year of her life, like I was so fixated on feeding my daughter that I actually did not enjoy her. I don't even have like memories other than like hospital stays, hospital visits, Chio, me crying my eyes out. Like I remember just like sitting her on her chai chair and me begging her to eat. Like picture like me, a grown adult who's 30 years old, begging like a 5-month-old to eat. I'm like, I'm like praying to God, like please make my daughter eat. Those are like my only memories of like her first year. Like, I wouldn't leave the house. Like I was just stuck at home. I was actually scared to like bring her out in public, because every time I'd go somewhere, people would comment on how tiny she was, and it was just like a reminder of like our issues. It was like a constant like, why is your daughter so small or stuff like that. So I like hid in my house, and I didn't even want people to see my daughter. Every time I posted a picture of her, I would delete it right away, and I just didn't want her to be seen. Like I was just scared of like how
people
like
would react.
yeah, like I was just scared of judgment. I was scared of what people were gonna say about me. Like I had people tell me, oh, she has a feeding tube, you're giving up. Oh, like you're taking the easy way out. Oh, you're not trying hard enough. Oh, she'll eat when she's hungry. And it's like, even though I know that's not the truth and I know it's just bullshit, it still hurt to hear that. Like it still bugged the shit out of me, and it just added to my like depression. So I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna like isolate myself. So for a very long time, I just would like go to my parents' house or just see my really close friend, and that was it. I would not go anywhere.
And that's really challenging. I mean, I even just hearing that, like I feel like I went through just an array of emotions just hearing you speak about it, because
Yeah.
it is the unfortunate reality of being a parent, is
Yeah.
that side of being a mom, that you just break yourself down on multiple levels, and no matter what path you would have chosen, you would have felt like a failure choosing it on your own. And then to have people make you feel worse about it, or try to the pretend doctors come in and say like,
Oh
no,
yeah.
you do this, oh, it's because take her off dairy, take yourself off dairy, or do
Yeah.
this or that. And you're like, I'm doing literally everything I can, and then on top of that you have another daughter at home.
Oh, it was so hard. I had so much guilt in me, because I actually at one point I felt like I was like neglecting my older daughter. I'm like, I was so fixated on Grace, like I literally forgot the world. Like I just forgot my husband, I forgot my friends, I forgot my parents, and I forgot my daughter. And then one time my daughter told my husband, she's like, when Gracie's okay, is mama gonna come back? Is mama gonna be happy again? Like, and when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like shit, like terrible. And like it's sad. It's I don't know, like it was not a good time. Like it's just awful.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't understand the difficulties, you know, and a lot of people will try to minimize your situation
Yeah.
and almost make you feel bad about feeling guilty. They'll make you
Oh
feel
yeah.
about being depressed about it.
Yeah.
They'll feel bad about, you know, and it doesn't make you feel better to have them consistently making you feel worse.
Oh yeah. Like I had one nurse once. I was crying in the room because Grace was losing weight and she was still vomiting and whatever. And then she told me, she's like, well, you know, she's like, if you want something to cry about, look at the lady like across the room. And although like I feel terrible for that lady with her baby, like she made me feel so bad about myself. Like she made me feel like I wasn't allowed to be sad. And then for a long time, even now, I'm still guilty of it. Like I even said that to myself a few days ago. Like every time I feel sad or I feel like scared of the future or the unknown, I said to myself, oh, well, at least my baby is not like that baby, or at least my baby doesn't have cancer or whatever. And it's like, no, like that's a wrong way of thinking. Like I'm allowed to be sad. Like obviously, like hurt is hurt, no matter like at what degree the person's suffering is at. Like hurt is the same. Like if I feel hurt, I'm hurt. Like it's no words or comparing my child to another is not going to take away my hurt from my child. Like it's nobody wants anything wrong with their child. I'm not saying that like nobody's more like deserving of pain. Like everybody's allowed to feel pain at the same level, regardless of what situation you're dealing with. So, yeah, people are rude. People are fucked up. Like you, like I couldn't believe like people like I had like family members tell me or like talk behind my back and say, "Oh, I'm crazy. Oh, like I'm too depressed and I should snap out of it. It's not a big deal. Grace will get better." And it's like, fuck you. Like, fuck you. So
You're not helping. You're not helping. You know, and I know that. I mean, I went through not the same degree, but I went through something with my own child, and
but you can't say it's not the same degree. It is. Like it's your child and you feel pain for your child. Like
exactly.
No mom, like we all love our children. We all want the best for our children. You can't say that like my trauma is worse than your trauma. It's trauma is trauma. Pain is pain. Like we all feel it. They're all children. You love them. You don't want to see them in the slightest bit of discomfort or whatever. So
it's so true. I remember, you know, even when I would just open up about my like I couldn't talk about my situation with my daughter without tearing up.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I remember, you know, you'd be in a room and people would ask you like, "Oh, how's Mila doing?" And I would just automatically start tearing, and then just like blurt out like, "Well, I was at Chio last week. I have to go again this week. Oh, our appointments are every 3 months now," and you know, and I would talk about it, and then the room's silent. Everyone's kind of looking at each other. No one knows what to say to you.
Yeah.
Like you're the elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly. And then at one point, I even felt like I was annoying people. Like I felt like
I shouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, I shouldn't. It's like, okay, Mirelle, we heard you the first time. Like, keep it
Get
to
over
yourself.
it.
It's not like obviously it's like not my family, my close friends. Like they've been like, I can't even stress to you how support. Like I actually have a really amazing support system. But still, I still felt like I was annoying people, and I don't know where that stems from or who triggered those feelings or those emotions, but I actually felt like I had to stop talking about my daughter. Like I can't. I would even lie. I'd be like, yeah, she's doing good, but she was not doing good. Like, yeah, I'm fine, but I was actually like spent all night crying that I couldn't even open my eyes. Like, yeah, my husband didn't know how to help me. Yeah, my husband was like actually scared for my like safety and like there were like bad times and I lied. Like I would actually like lie about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you completely.
Yeah.
I know I went through it. Like I'm all like tearing up because it brings back so many memories.
Yeah.
You know, having to say I'm okay.
Yeah.
When you're not, and you know, feeling guilty over just talking about your reality. And what people don't understand is that you're not going out. You're not having fun. So when they say like, "Hey, what'd you do today?" You're like, well, do I lie and say like, "Oh, I had a good day," or do I say, "Fuck, I spent the entire day trying to feed my daughter," or like for myself, you know, people are like, "Oh, how can you never come out? Just put the kids to bed later."
Oh, yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
And I would always try to say to them, like, I can't put my daughter to bed later. She's suffering from a migraine today. So
Yeah.
today, my kids are in bed at 6 p.m. But I'd have to censor myself when
Mm-hmm.
talking to people because nobody wants to hear it. And or
Yeah.
you feel like nobody wants to hear it or they won't understand it. Or
Yeah.
you don't want them chiming in and giving their like, well, did
The
you try,
expertise. Yeah. Like,
you know?
yeah. So I would just like shut myself. Like, yeah, I just like literally, like, I just shut off the world. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Like, and like sometimes you're tired of hearing the same, like, oh, come on, like, oh, just leave her with your dad or her dad, or, you know, like, just ease up. Like, you need a break. You need mommy time. It's like, no, like right now, like I'm not okay. And me being out in public will make me even worse. Like, it will trigger, like, if you don't stop having anxiety or depression, like you don't get it and you'll never understand. Like, and it's hard to explain it. And it's just like, nobody can really like not help you, but like, I feel like people tend to make it worse.
Yeah.
They think they're helping you, but they're just like they're poking at the bear. Like, and it actually like people, I don't know how to explain it. It was I couldn't go out. Like I had to like actually like shut people out. And like I actually had like good friends that like I actually owe apologies to. I actually like shut them out of my life because I couldn't deal with it. Like, because they couldn't understand my situation, nor could I can't expect them to understand either. So it's like a dead end. I'm like, right now, I can't have you in my life. I don't have the energy to explain things to you. I can't. I couldn't do it at one point. I was just tired and I gave up. I actually gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write it out till one day it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know now, not to say that it hasn't gotten better, but you're in sort of this situation now.
Yeah.
Did you feel like being now isolated re-triggered any of those emotions or any fears because of like the virus, the whatever?
Yeah. Like things like, for example, like all of Grace's appointments were virtual, and I couldn't actually like go do her appointments at CHIO, which kind of like it upset me a little bit. For example, I want to get her surgery done for her G tube. We can't do that; it's on pause. So right now, I'm just dealing with her NG because the NG does irritate her, and she's already pulled it out like 3 times. And trust me, it's traumatizing inserting an NG on a 1-year-old, and it just makes her older version worse. So. No, he's not here. Sorry. Sorry.
The life of a mom.
Yeah. So like that's been on pause. For me, like to be honest, like nothing has changed. If anything, I laugh at things because when Grace was like on medication and it made her immune system like super weak. So for her, like even like a cold is like devastating. It's like that's like me going to CHIO for dehydration, getting her IVs done. And every time like I got invited, like, oh, why can't you come? Like I just didn't want to go because I knew she would get sick. And people just thought I was like that crazy mom again. But like they didn't get it. So now that COVID's here, and you have all these like grown up adults wearing masks and gloves and are even scared to see their parents. It's like, okay, well now you get what my reality was. It's like you're too scared to a healthy adult and you can't even go see your own parents because you're scared you're gonna catch a virus. How do you think like I felt like with my daughter? So I kind of like laugh at that. I'm like, well, now you guys understand how it's like for people who have like a compromised immune system. But yeah, like I don't like it's kind of the same. Like obviously it's a little bit more lonely because you can't like your family and stuff. But like I think like 2 weeks in, I'm like, fuck this. I'm seeing my parents. My friends come over. Like I still see my friends. Like we're like people that I know are healthy, like and don't really go much. Like we still see each other. But yeah, I think the most frustrating part is just like her appointments in CHIO. Like it's annoying. It's frustrating.
I can imagine. I know I had to do Zane's actually his last appointment over the phone.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for a referral, and it went from being to 18 months to now 24.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, okay, so in 2 years.
Yeah. That's a long time.
That's a long time,
That's
right?
a very long time, yeah.
And I remember even just like thank God, thank God, thank God, Mila was discharged as a patient from CHIO a few months back. But for her, we had to go every 3 months, like she had to be heavily monitored. And so when you go from thinking like, okay, well, with one kid, I got them to see the doctor that they needed to see and have everything done. And now you're telling me 2 years.
It's ridiculous. I can't even imagine waiting 2 years to see a specialist. Like, so much can change in that time. And like, what if your child takes like a turn for the worst? Like,
you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's mind blowing, and it's frustrating. I mean, for sure. I understand. I'm not gonna be ignorant. I get it. But at the same time too, it, as a mom, scares the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But I think back, and even when we were in the hospital with Mila and everything we went through with that, and again, I go back to, just the fear of talking about it. And I thought, I was handling it well.
Yeah.
When maybe everyone else thought that I wasn't. I was, like, you're too nervous. You need to chill. You need to calm down. And you're like,
I can't. If I could, I would. You know what I mean? Like, you don't purposely want to be depressed. You don't purposely want to be freaking out and yelling every 2 seconds. Like, you can't control it. And people don't get it. And every time someone told me to calm down, I swear I want to like slash their throat. I'm like, don't fucking tell me to calm down, because you made things like 100 times worse. So I get it. And I had a hard time even like putting my emotions like in one place. I couldn't even understand what I was feeling. I was just like literally like a ball of mess, like a just emotional mess. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like getting these flashbacks. I'm just like, wow.
Well, sleep deprivation will do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I remember with Zane, he was very, very colicky. He did have a bit of reflux. We were on some of the same medications with him. And he would sleep for maybe 20 minutes at a time, only if I was sitting upright and holding him.
Same. I literally hold Grace as I'm walking, and that's how she slept. Like, I'm like, how am I going to even survive? Like, I'm going to die. Like, I felt like I was going to collapse any second. Like, I couldn't do it. I was like, whoa.
Well, you get into that, like, state of, like, hysteria a little bit. I can tell what, like, okay, am I holding the baby? Am I asleep right now? Is he, you're like freaking out in so many different levels. Your mind is everywhere. Again, plus you have another child to deal with. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
Now that there is the virus and you guys are sort of like forced into isolation, you're staying. What are you doing to keep yourself calm, sane? Like, do you have any methods that you use or have used in the past?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I did therapy. I did like maybe 7 sessions, and it really helped me. It's one thing talking to your friends and your family, and it's one thing talking to like a specialist, like somebody who like a professional who knows how to talk to you and knows how to respond to you and actually like give you like not like real or good advice, because everybody gives good advice, but like she knew how to handle me and she knew how to react with me. So that helped tremendously. And just somebody that's not your circle, somebody like actually just like truly be yourself and not be afraid of being judged or anything being used against you, or because like friends are like they're there. Like, I have really good friends. I don't have many friends, but like my friends are like my family. But I felt like I was burdening them too, because they have their own shit to deal with. They have their own kids. So I needed somebody else. I needed somebody else to talk to, that like I felt like I wasn't bugging them, annoying them. So that really, really helped me out. And honestly, like CBD oil, like my husband introduced it to me, and it really helped me. Like, it calmed me down. And it mellowed me out. I felt like my freakouts and my outbursts, because I had like, I feel like my depression and anxiety like transformed into anger. Like, I was like angry all the time, and I was shouting for no reason, like, and just like yelling at my husband and even like yelling at my child. I'm like, she didn't do anything. Like, why am I yelling at her? And then the guilt that you feel afterwards. So it's just like a really vicious cycle. But yeah, CBD oil like tremendously helped me, and I'm still taking it to this day.
I find that helps a lot. It helped me. A lot too. helped me turn my brain off and sleep at night.
Yeah.
And just remain like chill throughout the day, calm.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, do you think that Mirelle, if you, like, I know you're Lebanese, if you were of any other background, it would have been different in the way that people reacted to what you were going through?
Maybe, but like, well, I'll say this one thing. My family, like, is 100% like with me. Like, whatever route I decide to take, like, my parents and my in-laws are like so supportive and have been with me every single day of this journey. But like, I know I might get like hate for saying this, but I just feel like the Lebanese community, like, we judge a lot and we talk a lot of shit behind everybody's back. So I was actually scared about people were gonna say about my daughter, like, oh, like ibinta shubiha, or like, what's wrong with her, and I don't feel like I owe anybody an explanation. Like, I don't feel like I have to justify, like,
She
people
just
are not born perfect. Like, people, like, it happens. But like, I've witnessed people talking shit about kids, and I didn't want that to happen to my kid. And I was so scared of like judgment from like the Lebanese community. Like, it exists, it's there. You can lie and say it's not there. It definitely is there. And yeah, like I said earlier, like, I want to hide my daughter from the world. Like, and my mom yelling, she's like, "What are you doing? Like, your daughter's great. She's like, it's like she's a gift from God. Like, stop thinking like this. You're gonna like dig yourself into a hole, and it's gonna be hard to get out of. Like, just love your daughter, be there for her," which I always did. But like, when you're depressed and sleep deprived and have anxiety, like, that clouds your judgment. Like, I feel like I've said things that I actually regret. Like, I think I told my husband once that I didn't want to be her mom. Like, I didn't want to be her mom. And when I think of that, I'm like, how dare I ever say that? Like, how did that even come out of my mouth? But I wasn't me. I actually was not me. I was like a different person. Like, I was not there. I was so depressed. So, like, I don't know. Like, all
I
moms go. All moms go through baby blues and depression. It's there. It happens. Those who have never dealt with it, like, lucky you. Like, you're fucking lucky. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, but so yeah, back to your question. Sorry, I don't know if I'm like.
No, I was actually just gonna say,
Yeah.
I don't think, Mirelle, you know or realize how powerful you are.
Oh, thanks.
How, no, honest to
Yeah.
God, be able to sit there and just share that entire experience.
Yeah.
Like I said, you put me through an array of emotions, some that I can relate to and some that I can empathize with.
Yeah.
I understand the difficulty in speaking about it, and I understand, the fear and the challenges, but to sit there fearlessly and talk about it, and you know, you're clearly on the you're very healed, and you're on the path to being even more healed because you can do it with, ease and comfort. Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying,
Yeah.
and it's very powerful, and it's very, very, very beautiful to see. And
Yeah.
I want to admire that about you, because I think that's a strength that you have, that, a lot of us have said that to ourselves. And
Yeah.
anybody in here who's a mom, we'd be lying if we haven't once said, at one point as a mother, why did I have, and you beat yourself up over it, but
Yeah.
it it's something that, we have to admit to, because it is okay, because we have all at one point been there.
Yeah.
And I think that nobody is safe from depression. Nobody. And we would
Yeah.
all be lying if we said that we didn't experience it in some form or to some degree.
Yeah.
So for you to talk about it the way that you are, it's a very, very beautiful thing. And I think that more people should be able to be this open about it.
Yeah, it took me a while to get there. I think, to be honest, it's just like as recent as like 2 weeks ago that I truly, in my heart, accepted it.
Yeah.
We were discharged from CHIO actually like 2 weeks ago, and we got home and I had to set up Grace's like her and put her IV pole and set up her tube feeds, and then it just hit me. I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Like, I was at peace. Like, I'm like, you know what? If this is gonna help my daughter and she's finally gonna thrive and she's gonna be happy and not in pain and have a happy mom. I'm like, she deserves to have a happy mom. I'm like, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. Like, I couldn't accept it for a very long time. Something as stupid as like, I actually didn't want to see other kids because I felt like pain seeing other kids eat and look so healthy, and something so normal like eating for me was like, I would give my arms if my daughter could eat like that, or she could finally eat. So like sometimes I was like, okay, how am I gonna go to birthday parties and have my daughter sit down and give her a tube feed while everybody's eating pizza? How am I gonna send her to school? How am I gonna go back to work? How am I gonna send her to daycare? So I had so many fears, and then now like they're all gone. Like they disappear, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna
Just
go
figure
with
it
it.
out.
Like,
Yeah.
what can I do? I can't fight it anymore. Like, and I'm like, I'm hurting my daughter by fighting this. Actually, like, I'm actually doing her disservice, and I just have to like put aside people's retarded comments, like, you're giving up, you're not trying hard enough, there's no way no baby will like decide not to eat. I'm like, yeah, they do exist, and my daughter's one of them. So yeah, like I said, like I'm at peace now. I'm okay. I'm going with it. Like, I truly accept my daughter the way she is, and then with all her glory. Like, she's awesome though. Like, although she's lacking in some areas, she's super advanced in other areas. So I'm like shifting my mindset. I'm like, let's focus on the good right now. Let me finally enjoy my daughter. Like, the first year was just like a shit show. Like, it was just like there was no good time, none. Like, so I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna enjoy my daughter now. I'm done. I'm done suffering. I'm done crying. I'm done being in pain. Like, I just
Well, at some point you have to accept the reality, and
yeah.
say, this is my life, and
Yeah, this is
it's
my
gonna,
normal.
yeah, I might as well
Cool.
be
Like,
happy through it,
yeah, yeah,
But I think it's getting to that acceptance that's hard, because for a while, like, and I went through this where you're in denial, you're in denial, you're in
yeah,
denial, and then you wake up one morning and you're like, well, no, what am I gonna deny? Am I gonna deny that every day is gonna look the same and this is gonna be my life? So I think it's
yeah,
again, it's important to have that. But now we're here. We're
yeah.
here and we're in COVID, and you don't know when that feeding tube or the G tube, sorry, will be able to be put in.
Well, personally, I think it's a long process for Grace just because she has such a bad association with food. Like, for her, like, I actually have to like teach her how to eat. Like, even like when we give her water, she chokes. She can't drink. Like, she doesn't know how to drink. Like, it's very like, she's at a point where like she was kind of drinking at one point, but then she regressed. Like, for her, it's gonna be a process, and it's gonna be baby steps. So she might have it for a few years, and it is what it is. Like, what can I do? And if it's gonna like, um, it's gonna help her. Like, for me, like, I have to see it as my friend and not my enemy. Because, to be honest, if it wasn't for the feeding tube, she would actually be dead. Like, she would have died at 2 months old. Like, there was no way like she would have survived. Like, her organs were failing of like dehydration. Like, she was literally like dying like of like hunger, and still she wouldn't eat. So I know there's no way she would have survived. So I'm like, this is my friend. I have to look at this like this is like a godsend. Like, like, be happy that we live in a time and a place where Grace can be taken care of, and she has the tools to help her get better. She might need help now, but I have faith to overcome this. Like,
Well, and I think that, when you are dependent on the medical system, you don't, although we all have our questions, you don't want to tear down something that's benefiting you and your family and helping you the way that it is,
yeah,
right?
yeah, even like our whole family like dynamic change, because before it was like us just trying to feed Grace. Like, we would actually spend 10 hours a day trying to feed my daughter. Like, that's all my day consisted of. And then it stressed me out, it stressed my husband out. My I had to like call my mom every day over to help me feed my daughter. Like, I could not like feed her without like literally like a village. It took a village to feed my daughter, and it wasn't even like nearly like, she was still like, it still wasn't working. So I was like, I'm like, I need to accept this. Like, this is just not working. Like, I'm not helping my daughter. And I think that's what like hurt the most. Like, despite all my efforts, that I was still not like succeeding. It was it was hard. Yeah.
And how is Julia with this situation? How does she navigate herself, or how is that dynamic with her and her sister?
I feel like she like loves her sister very much. She's very protective over her, and she always wants to help me with Grace. But I feel like at one point she was very like yeah, I could say jealous, and I tell she felt like put to the side. So I had to get my husband to give my daughter like extra attention, just to
Yeah.
make her feel like, no, you're good, and we love you. And he kept like reminding her, like Grace is a little bit sick right now, like she'll get better soon and things will get back to normal. But I do think she had a hard time at first, especially like when I was gone for like a month and a half, and she's like, where's mom? And she couldn't come visit me very long at the hospital, and I couldn't go home because I couldn't leave Grace. Like even like nurses were like, go home for a day, we'll take care of her. I'm like, no way could I ever leave my daughter. I couldn't do it. So I felt like since then, like she kind of like drifted apart from me, I would say. Like she was so attached to her dad that whenever I tried to give her attention, she didn't even want my attention. It's like, no, you go take care of Grace. And that killed me. I was like, whoa, like my child is like kind of rejecting me. Like, so we had our ups and downs with Julia, but we're good now. Like I feel like our family unit is like back to normal kind of thing. And we're doing things together, and I'm better. Like I'm healthier now. Like my mind is more at peace. So I feel like I'm finally the mom that I should be, or Julia deserves at least. You know what I mean? Like, so, but that wasn't easy. It was really hard. Like, there was the first thing of like juggling two kids. That was like already like the first burden, or like the first like not burden, but the first like
Hardship.
yeah. And then the whole Grace thing happened. So it's like it was just like obstacle after obstacle, and like we never got the chance to actually be like one happy family. Like, and I feel like now we're finally one big happy family.
So and I want to relate it to the situation right now, because I think we're all talking about like normal, the new normal.
Yeah.
But when you've gone through something like that, you've had your normal sort of rocked already, and had to adapt to like a new way of living and establish your new normal, your new routines. So were you essentially unfazed by COVID?
Yeah, I was unfazed. Like I said, the only thing that like bothered me was like Grace's appointments got disrupted. That was the only like piss off I had. But to me, like nothing changed because I was always super cautious at home. I didn't go to public places, and the one time I did, I held Grace the entire time. I didn't let her touch anything or nobody touch her. Like we have hand sanitizer everywhere in the house. Like for me, it was like that was like already my normal. Like to me, like, it didn't bother me. Like I don't know. Like I don't even like I have already an opinion about COVID. Like I don't know if you want to go there, but like no, for me like nothing really changed. I think the only hard part was that I had both girls full time at home, and that was like another like step to take on.
Just juggling that.
Oh yeah, it's exhausting. Even oh my god, I can't believe how hard it is.
With Julia being 4, she was supposed to go to school in September.
I hope she will. I don't know how that's gonna play out, but she was looking forward to it.
Have you read the new guidelines that Quebec is instilling? And
no, I have not.
Okay, so I don't know. I was going to ask you what you thought about sending her under those conditions, or sending her in this situation, if she could even go. Because was Grace able, like, with a weakened immunity? What if is that a?
But that's the thing. Like, I feel like why does Julia have to sacrifice? Like, I feel like it's not fair to her. Like, I'm not gonna not put her in school because I'm afraid for like Grace is like okay right now, and it's something that we're gonna have to like kind of find a way. But I'm not pulling my daughter out of school. Like, there's no way. Like, I feel like she deserves to go to school, and she will go to school. I'm not gonna like not ruin her life, but like I don't want her to live in the shadows of Grace. She's her own person. She deserves to be happy and to have friends and go to social events and go to birthdays and go to school. Like I can't do that to her. I can't. I'll figure it out. I'll go live at my mom's. I don't care. But I'm not gonna like ruin my daughter's life because of Grace. Like she deserves a good life.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's the thing too. And I mean, I think everywhere too is putting like from what I read, they're putting a lot more precautions into place anyways. So if this is still around come September, it's not like it's going to be just a free for all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, Julia went to daycare regardless while I had Grace, so she was still
Yeah.
like
She's
out and like,
exposed.
stuff, and God knows what she was looking in daycare. Like, she was still exposed. So I think I have it under control. Like, I would bring Julia, she'd wash her hands, I'd change her clothes. I wouldn't like let Julia like be in her face either. So there was that distance, but I still feel like I know how to navigate it. Like, I think after a year of like
Dealing with it, yeah.
dealing with it and having like next level anxiety of over Grace getting sick, that I finally feel like I know how to handle this.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. Like, even just like to compare it to Mila, when I found out she had the nut allergy, I was really fearful of school and I was fearful of birthdays and stuff like that. And it took a good solid like 3-4 months just to figure out, how to handle that. And then you're you work your way through, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to, like, you can't like live in a box.
You can't stop life, no.
Even though you may want to at times, but you gotta try and push through it. Like, push through those emotions and feelings, because you don't want to live in a box. You don't want to go there. It's not a good place to be in.
And it's a hard place to come out of.
Oh yeah, it's so like, it took me like 8-9 months to finally like start making progress. It took me
because you have to admit to yourself there's something wrong. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm feeling is not right, because at the beginning you're like, but it's supposed to be this way. I'm supposed to be nervous all the time. Look what I'm dealing with. And then as you slowly come down from that, you're like, okay, it's true, but I can navigate myself through it a little bit more calmly, or with a little more peace, like you said,
Yeah.
It's just about finding that.
Finding that balance. Like, yeah.
But I think it's hard. It's hard if you don't recognize that you're there when you are there. And I know that's sort of why I started coming out of my old account, and I would post the stories that I would post, because I was like, okay, I kind of get what I'm feeling now. I want to get it out, put it in writing. If somebody reads it, cool. If they can relate to it, cool. If not, like, at least I did my release, and I don't know, I think it's beneficial to share these stories, because we're all going through something.
Yeah. Life is not perfect, and I feel like it's okay to talk about it. Like, it's fine. Like, I think the first time you approached me, I was like scared. I was like, no, I'm not gonna talk about my daughter. I don't want people to know about her. But it's like, wow, I need to like backtrack. It's okay. Like, I have nothing to be ashamed of, or ashamed of my daughter. It's okay. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said yes, because it's hard. Like you said, it's hard to come out and just say like, hey everybody, so this is my life, like, enjoy. But when it is something that's visible, like you said, when you were afraid to take her out in public because you didn't want people to notice the tube, correcting herself. It's a matter of, people are gonna see it regardless. It's visible. They're gonna ask questions. They're gonna have questions. So instead of them making up their own story, why don't you come out and say, this is my situation. This is what I deal with on a day-to-day. If you have any questions, respectfully ask me, but don't just sit there and stare.
Yeah, like, I think that's what got to me a few times. People would just like be like, oh, well, cute baby, and then they approach her and they see her thing to be like, oh, like, and then they were like back off, and like, it like stabbed me in the heart. It's like, what, she's not cute because of her feeding tube anymore? Like, it just, and I know it's fear, it's like the unknown, and they don't know how to ask. People like don't know how to ask a question either. They're like, they're too scared to ask. So it took me a while to like grow thicker skin to it. But yeah, like, I'm hiding. Like, I'm done. Like, I want to live my life. I want to be happy again. I want to be happy for my girls and just enjoy.
Well, honestly, Mirelle, I think you're a friggin' kick-ass mom. I think those girls are lucky to have you. I think that you're so strong, so powerful, so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
You have 2 amazing daughters and an amazing husband who love and support you, and a beautiful family. I know all your friends, and they're amazing people as well.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you for opening up the way that you did and sharing your story. You touched me and warmed my heart with it, because
You touched us too. Touched me, Tara. Like, at one point was like following you religiously. I think you like first came out when I was actually at Chio. with all your stories, and I was like, yeah, girl, like it was actually keeping me going, and it actually like relaxed me because I'm like,
You're
people,
not alone.
yeah, like not to sound like mean, but like I didn't find comfort in people struggling, but I found comfort in like that I'm not alone. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, like thank you actually. Like you're amazing and
Oh, I
every way
love
of
you.
the word. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you came on today.
me too.
I hope you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll chat soon, babe.
Okay, great. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Guys, that was awesome. She is strength. Such a beautiful, beautiful woman. Two amazing children. God bless her. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, there will be no oh shit tomorrow. It is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mirelle. Happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful moms that stayed and watched tonight. And for whoever sees this, happy Mother's Day to my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister who brought me flowers, and God help my husband if he doesn't show up with some tomorrow. I love you guys. Have a good night. Stay safe. Oh shit. Bye.